All right, bienvenidos. Welcome to the Past Tense Mastery Workshop. All right, so I'm Peter, and this is our school, Fast Conversational Spanish. And along with my team, we teach every day. Live classes, we have free workshops once a week like this one. Got a great team. And today we're going to cover a topic that drives a lot of students crazy: the past tense in Spanish. So yes, this is a more intermediate topic, definitely not a beginner topic, but if you're a beginner, still worth watching, because you will get to this sooner or later. And when you do, you'll remember this workshop and be glad that you saw it, because it'll make your life easier when you do work at the past tense. So awesome, you guys. Where are you from? I have Dave and Steve. Where are you guys located?
Estoy en Estados Unidos,
Muy bien.
el estado de Oregon.
Muy bien. Ok, gracias por venir. ¿Y Steve?
Estoy en Santiago de Chile, pero mi país es Escocia.
Ah, eres de Escocia.
Sí.
Muy bien. Ok, well, bienvenidos. ¿Y ustedes ya han estudiado el pasado en español? ¿Sí?
Sí.
Excellent. Okay. So today for you guys, some people are watching the replay, so I'm going to cover everything anyway, because for those who don't know everything, I'm going to make sure I cover the steps. Some of it may be repetitive for you. The past tense is very important. You know, what did you do yesterday? Okay. You know, how have you been? Where, what did you used to do for work? All right. What did you do last week? All right. So past tense is a huge conversational topic. All right. In so many conversations. Let's just take a little quiz here. Okay. We're just going to raise your hand since it's just two of you. And if you know the answer, let me know. Let's start with I talked. Okay. Go ahead, Dave.
Yo hablé.
Good. And I talked yesterday.
Hablé ayer.
Good. And how about I talked every day?
Todos los días yo hablé.
Okay. Steve, are you in agreement with that?
I have a complete block on the past tenses, so I'm afraid I can't contribute.
Okay. Then you're in the right place.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. How about this? I talked 5 minutes ago, Dave.
Hace 5 minutos hablé.
Okay. And I just talked.
Yo casi hablé.
Okay. I was talking.
Oh, estoy hablando.
Okay. I have talked.
That's where it gets tough.
Mm.
Yo hablado.
Okay. I had talked.
No.
Forget it. I have been talking.
Uh-huh.
I had, okay. Did very well. Okay. How long have you been studying Spanish, Dave?
3 años.
Good. Okay. 3
Yeah,
years.
Más o menos. Okay.
All right. Pretty consistently with a teacher or a class?
Yes, see, yeah. We spend winters in Mexico, and we do it twice a week pretty consistently, and try to use it with locals.
Okay.
Which isn't always easy because a lot of them speak English.
Awesome. Okay. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about what it takes to get conversational. We'll talk about where this fits into your goals, okay? Because my goal for everybody is to get everybody I can conversational. That's my goal, okay? This is one part of a much bigger picture, okay? So why are we here using our valuable hour of our day in the middle of our week when we could be out at the beach, right? It's to be conversational, okay? So we want to put this in context. How is this going to get us to our goal? How is this workshop going to help my life, right? That's important, okay? What do we really need? And what do we really want? We'll talk about that. All right. So here are the answers, okay? I talked could be hablé or hablaba. Okay, there's two past tenses, and that's what we're going to talk about today the most. But I wanted to touch on, because I don't know if Steve was in that group, but in one of the Chilean groups, I always get people who think they're very smart and smarter than me, and they want to tell me that I'm wrong. Okay. And they're like, oh, there's more than two tenses. Well, yeah, I know. I'm not an idiot. Okay. I teach Spanish for a living. So these are all different past tense, you could say. But the simple past tense, there are two. I talked, hablé and hablaba. And in English, we only have one. Okay. I talked. That's it. That's what I'm talking about in this workshop. But I wanted you to be aware that there are other ways to speak in the past tense. Okay. And they're all important, and they're all part of our program, our conversational program, but we're not going to cover them all today. Okay. But they are all necessary. Okay. I talked yesterday, hablé ayer, and I talked every day, hablaba todos los días. And we're going to talk about why you use one and the other. I talked 5 minutes ago, hablé hace 5 minutos. I just talked, acabo de hablar. I was talking, estaba hablando, estuve hablando. Okay, I have talked, he hablado. I had talked, hube hablado or había hablado. I have been talking, okay, he estado hablando, and I had been talking. Hube estado hablando, había estado hablando. So you can see there's a lot going on here. Okay, this is the Mount Everest of Spanish verbs. All right, and if you don't have a really great system, like Dave, to be honest, I'm impressed with how well you did after 3 years. Most people after 10 years don't even get as many right answers. Okay, Steve, have you been studying Spanish a while?
Yeah, consistently for a few years, but I've been kind of blocked on this for a while.
Yeah, consistent. You're not alone. Okay, I get students who have tried to study Spanish with different tutors and classes for years and decades. All right, it is not because everybody's not smart. It's because the system of Spanish teaching has some flaws in it. Okay, the high school system is bad, the university system is bad, and the local tutors and your italkies and your pre-ply tutors for $5 an hour, they're just trying to earn a buck. They don't have a massive system, and your local immersion schools. We'll talk about all that. All right. So the past tense, what did you do yesterday? What did you do when you were young? What have you done today? What have you been doing lately? These are all conversation starters, okay, in the past. So this little sheet is all the ways to conjugate one verb in Spanish, hablar. Okay, that's what makes Spanish verbs so hard. All right, we have to simplify that down. Okay, so there's a few ways to do that. First, before we talk about conjugating, I want to give you one great shortcut. Okay, this is before we talk about how to do the past tense. I'm going to give you a really, really nice shortcut here. Okay, and it's the verb acabar de. Have you heard of it?
Yeah.
How have you guys heard of like yo voy a comer?
Sí.
It's a nice shortcut to say I'm going to eat. Okay, this is a nice shortcut to say what you just did. It's like, it's called a verb phrase when you use two verbs together. So acabar de is to just have done something. Acabar literally means to finish, but when you use it with another verb, acabar de, it means to just have done something. So yo acabo de comer is I just ate, or I just finished eating. Okay. You just ate. Tú acabas de comer. All right. Usted acaba de comer. All right. He just ate. Él acaba de comer. Ella acaba de comer. All right. Plural. Ellos acaban de comer. They just ate. Ellas acaban de comer. They just ate. Ustedes acaban de comer. All right. You guys just ate. If this is too advanced for you watching this replay, I recommend in our Facebook group, you go watch Verbs Essentials. Okay. And it'll teach you about verb conjugation. All right. But I think with you guys, this all makes sense, right?
Yeah. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
The shortcut we have learned is yo fui a comer.
That means I went to.
And okay. Fui a. Well, yo voy a comer. I'm going to eat. Fui a comer. We've been told is I think similar. This is probably better. It's similar to acabo de.
It functions, but again, it's not going to be a perfect translation, but it functions.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to eat, or I went to eat. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. That's a good
Yeah,
one.
it's good. Well, this is good to know.
It's a good
probably a lot.
They're both good. They're both good. Fui a comer, to be honest, is a good shortcut as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So good. So basically what makes it special, as you already know, is the second verb, comer, doesn't conjugate, which means I don't have to memorize the rules of verb conjugation. I can just put any verb with it. So, instead of, so let's put a little thing here. Yo acabo de, all right, or I'll put it here instead of comer, yo acabo de. What did you do today, or what did you do recently? You say, I just cooked. So how would you say that, Dave?
Yo acabo de cocinar.
There you go. So you just throw in cocinar, to cook. All right. All right. Any questions on this little shortcut? Good. Next shortcut is hace. Okay. All right. If you say hace, like hace is ago. So hace 5 minutos. All right. 5 minutes ago. Hace 5 días. 5 days ago. Hace 5 años. And that's really powerful, because maybe even more than acabar de. Let's say you know the present tense. Okay. And you say like, yo hablo con mi amiga. Okay. That means I talk with my friend, right? But if you throw in hace 5 minutos, even if you don't conjugate hablar correctly, it'll give them a big clue that it was in the past, and they'll understand what you're trying to say. So that's really nice, because you can conjugate terribly, and this sort of covers your tracks. Okay. Like 5 years ago, I lived in Kentucky. Hace 5 años. Right. Yo vivo in Kentucky, even though it's not correct, means 5 years ago, I live in Kentucky, it'll make sense to them. Okay. So these are just two shortcuts that I like to teach right off the bat. Okay. Good. All right. Now let's get into the heart of the matter today, the past tense preterito and imperfecto. All right. So I ate yesterday, yo comí ayer, and I ate every day, yo comía todos los días. Okay. In English, it's the same verb. I ate. In Spanish, it's two different verbs. Yo comí or yo comía. Why? Want to take a guess? Want to try to explain it, Steve or Dave?
Yeah, we have had this. It's not easy. It doesn't come back into use easily, but the differences between a action that it's completed and one that's ongoing.
Well, a lot of people say that, but is that true? I ate every day. I ate every day in January.
Oh, well, yeah.
Is it completed or not?
No, yeah, I eat every day would be more what I.
That's
indicated.
right. It's past tense. It is in the past. It is completed. When I was 12 years old, I watched football games with my dad. Is that completed or not?
Yeah, that would be completed.
But it would still be the past imperfecto.
Uh-huh.
So it's not about completion. That's not it. That's not it. Any other guesses?
It's about something you did regularly or a habit.
A habit, okay, that is part of it. Yes, that is a part of it. Something you did regularly or a habit is a part of it, but not the full picture. Okay, good. All right, this is what we're going to solve. Now, I want to make a bigger point here. Let's just say you only learned comí. And you said, yo comí todos los días. Would they understand you?
I think I said something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would understand you just fine. Okay, so in terms of speaking, if your goal is just to speak Spanish, you just learn one and forget the other one. Why? What's the point? They'll get you. You'll be perfectly conversational speaking one of these. Okay, literally, it has zero impact on your ability to be understood. Why should we learn both?
Well, you probably would hear it when speaking to native speakers.
There you go.
And then you would read it.
There you go.
If I read it, I probably, a lot of these I would understand reading, but hearing them is a whole different.
There you go. You hit the nail on the head. This is something that is so painfully obvious and yet so painfully neglected in the world of Spanish students is conversation is a two-way street. Everyone memorizes this random stuff and they can go speak and order food at a restaurant or whatever. But when they speak back to you, they're not going to speak in these little sound bites. They're not going to use limited Spanish. They're going to use fluent Spanish. So for you to be conversational, you can't just memorize one way of doing things. You have to learn all the ways of doing things. Okay? Or you will not understand them because they're not going to answer you in your Spanish. They're going to answer you in fluent Spanish. So this is the biggest, and let me see if I put it somewhere. I think I was working on it. I think I have another slide here from another class. Okay. So before I teach you when to use the one and the other, I want you to understand how this fits into conversational Spanish, where we're this guy and we're not this guy. Okay? It's memorization versus improvisation, speaking versus listening, and vocabulary versus all skills. If you want to survive, it's all about memorizing some random words and saying them. If you want to converse, you got to have the tools to improvise, to think on the spot, to hear and understand them, and that requires all skills. Okay, it's a different world. For example, if someone says, I want tacos, how do you say that?
Well, quiero tacos.
There you go. And if they said, los traigo enseguida, would you know what they mean?
Let's see. I'm. They're being brought. I don't know, enseguida.
Okay, Steve, would you know what if the waiter came up to you and said, los traigo enseguida, would you know what he meant?
They're coming up or something like that.
You're actually close. Okay, it means I'm bringing them right away. Okay, but the point is, he could say, you know, a million things. Como quisieran su carne cocida, gusta que vayamos pidiendo algo de tomar, como les gustaría que les preparáramos su platillo, and etc., etc. All right, so there's a million ways he can respond to you. Okay, memorizing what to say is easy. Having the tools to know what they say back is hard. Okay, so when we are in this workshop today, we are learning the Preterito and the Imperfecto, not just to speak, but to understand. And that's the biggest difference between survival Spanish and conversational Spanish. You got to have a whole lot more tools to converse than you do to speak and survive. It's a different universe. 95% of expats go to Spanish schools and learn how to survive. Maybe 1%, 5% of them learn how to converse. Okay, so we want to converse. All right. So let's look at the rules. All right, so I've heard a lot of rules, and let me show you the advanced rules first. All right, here is the advanced rules. There's lots of them. Unspecific moment in time, repeated action, used to do something, was doing something, ordering a polite way, talk about your age, talk about time. That's a lot to remember. When you're trying to remember vocabulary and verbs, and in the middle of a conversation, you're trying to think, and then on top of that, you're trying to remember all of this, forget about it. Right? That's not very practical. Okay, we want to converse. We want to be able to have a one-on-one conversation with somebody where they understand us, we understand them, and it flows like a real conversation. All right, so my job is to get you guys there. And that means I got to cut the fat. I got to get really, really focused on what really, really helps you in the real world. So eliminating all those rules, this is what I'm going to leave you with. Okay? A specific moment in time or an unspecific moment in time. And that's all I want you to remember. That rule will get you 80% correct. Maybe 90%. If you just think that rule, specific or unspecific moment, you'll be 80 or 90% right. Okay, so let's look at some examples. I ate tacos yesterday. Boom, that was like yesterday. I ate tacos all day yesterday. That was not just a moment. It was a kind of ongoing thing. You see the difference?
Yeah.
Okay. Here are some keywords that can generally give you a good hint that it's one or the other, but by no means is this a rule, and I'll tell you why in a minute. All right, but there, it'll give you the concept a little more. Okay, I ate yesterday. Comí ayer. The day before yesterday. Yo comí anteayer. Last night, anoche. The other day. El otro día. At that moment, en ese momento. All right, I ate then, or then I ate. Entonces, this morning, esta mañana, this afternoon, esta tarde, last week, la semana pasada, last month, el mes pasado, last year, el año pasado, 2 days ago, hace 2 días, afterwards, después, and for 2 weeks. Okay. So here are some imperfecto. Okay. And why is it called Preterito Imperfecto? Who knows? It just is. So there's no good explanation. I ate often, a menudo. I ate sometimes, a veces. Yo comía a veces. I ate every day, cada día. Every week, cada semana. Every month, cada mes. And every year, cada año. Frequently, frecuentemente. Usually, generalmente, usualmente. Many times, muchas veces. Never, I never ate. Nunca. I always ate. Siempre. So many times, tantas veces. Every week, todas las semanas, and cada semana is more like each week. All right, and todas las semanas is like every week. Every day, todos los días, all the time, todo el tiempo, during the event, durante el evento. All right, several times, varias veces. I ate while she cooked, mientras. Okay. From time to time, de vez en cuando, and at that time, en aquella época. All right. So, and these can go, some of these can go both ways. All right. Especially these over here, like the example you saw above. I ate all day yesterday. Right? So even though it was yesterday, it was, you add that all day and it changes things. Okay, so you really can't put a rule on this word and that word will make it this. You got to get the feeling. Is it a specific done deal moment, or is it more of a vague, either an ongoing moment or a general period of time, right? Or a repeated period of time, or just something less specific. Okay. So, questions on that big point, specific versus unspecific moment.
Yeah, this is maybe backtracking a bit, but looking at that list of the imperfect examples.
Yeah.
I was thinking usually the looking at the English translations, these would usually be things that I would probably say in the present tense, like I eat often, I eat every month. And I'm just,
you're trying to think of
but would you would just use the simple present tense for that, right?
No, I eat often is like yo como mucho or yo como a menudo. But you know, man, when I was in Mexico, I ate every day.
Yeah, okay.
When I was a kid, you know, I used to go to I used to skip class often. Right? It
right.
will the absolutely past tense. Oh,
okay.
Yeah. When I worked at the company, I never talked to the boss.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. These are 100% past tense stuff.
No, I agree with. I was just wondering if
They
I was
can
going
be
to
used in
say
the
something in
present.
the present,
You could.
should we be using like the subjunctive tense? Or
subjunctive is a whole nother world.
Yeah, I know.
Forget about it. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Okay.
We'll put that one off.
put that one. Just put it this way. Everything can also be subjunctive in the right context.
Yeah, okay.
The subjunctive, there's present tense and subjunctive present. There's past tense and subjunctive past. So
yeah,
that has a different set of rules for it.
Right.
Okay? But here's a big tip, big tip for you. Okay, and everybody. All right, let me back to I didn't add everything I meant to add to this. Okay, you see these 8 tenses right here? I talked, I will talk, I would talk, I have talked, I am talking, I have been talking, I talked, I talk. Okay, and I talk to myself. If you don't know those plus the reflexive verbs at the end, hablaba, hablaré, hablaría, he hablado, estoy hablando, he estado hablando. If you don't know those, you shouldn't even begin to sniff the subjunctive.
Yeah, okay.
And not only that, know them with at least 200 verbs or more. This is one of the fatal flaws in the world of Spanish teaching, is teaching people stuff that isn't practical and isn't useful. Okay, and subjunctive, even though it's super common, okay, if you know these 8 tenses, the subjunctive is also super easy to hear it and know what they're saying. And you don't, if you just like in the past tenses, same concept, where in terms of speaking, if you never use subjunctive in your life, you'll still be fine. That's true.
Mhm.
And so most people start learning subjunctive before they have the other 8 tenses, which are way more useful and way more easy. And they don't have 100 verbs or 200 verbs. They don't have enough nouns and adjectives. There's a whole bunch of stuff they're missing. They don't even know how to read with proper pronunciation, and they're learning subjunctive. Right? It's one of the fatal flaws, is wasting people's time on stuff that doesn't help you in the real world. Okay? I could give you a dozen examples of flaws in the system of teaching, but Preterito Imperfecto is a huge one that they don't teach it well, and they overblow it. Okay? Now, what is important? Okay, so first of all, let's do a little exercise here. I'm going to do a little exercise about Preterito and Imperfecto, when to use it. This is our program. We have every lesson you ever need on video and flashcards, and we have live classes to practice every day, all day, from 8 in the morning till 6:30 at night Pacific. Practice. Okay? As much as you want. So no. Wrong one. There we go. Okay. That's what I'm looking for. Okay. So we're going to start with English. I'm not even worried about the Spanish yet. Just tell me, is it Preterito or Imperfecto? Okay. So before we start, Preterito is what? Specific or unspecific?
Specific.
That's right. And Imperfecto is?
Unspecific.
There we go. Okay. So Preterito or Imperfecto? Okay. So we'll go with Dave. For a few.
Preterito.
We'll go do. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Go, yeah, I'll alternate Dave and Steve. Okay. Ready, Dave?
Yeah,
Preterito, you said?
I'm saying preterito.
Good. And yeah, Preterito. Okay. All right. Preterito. All right. I waited often, Steve.
Imperfecto.
There you go. Let's turn on some sounds so we can work on our listening skills.
She was home the other day.
All right. Dave?
Okay, preterito.
Ella estuvo en casa el otro día.
You died the other day. She helped her mom this afternoon.
Steve?
Preterito.
Ella ayudó a su mamá esta tarde.
They pass the test often.
Imperfecto.
Ellas pasaban el examen a menudo.
I always lost my keys.
Imperfecto.
Yo siempre perdía mis llaves.
We took lots of pictures every week.
Imperfecto.
Nosotros tomábamos muchas fotos todas las semanas.
You guys got it. Okay. 80 to 90% of the case, if that's all you can remember, you'll be right. All right. So we're not going to go into any deeper rules than that. Okay. Next up is conjugation. Okay. This is really the most important part. Because even if you just use one of them and that was it, as we talked about for speaking, even if we just learned one of these, right? Where's my example again? Even if we just learned how to do comí and we just use that all the time, you got to know conjugation to understand them. So way more important is to learn conjugation. Which one of these have you studied more, Dave? Preterito or imperfecto?
Oh, Preterito.
Okay, you're not alone. And Steve, I don't know if I called Dave Steve, but Steve, did you study either of these yet?
Yeah, but the way I was taught, I got all the tenses, all past tenses in the same lesson, and my head just collapsed.
Okay. So you were taught both of these at some point, but just forgot them.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So would you say one of them you're stronger than the other? Or you studied more than the other?
Probably the first one more
Okay.
often. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. Everybody in the world studies the first one, and very few people even get to the second one. Okay. And this is another massive mistake in the world of Spanish teaching. Here's why. Okay. I'm going to teach you the imperfecto first, and then I'll teach you the preterito. Okay. Imperfecto, the unspecific moments. All right. How do we conjugate the imperfecto? First, got to remind you how to conjugate a verb in English. Okay. To talk, there's a verb. There's 3 steps to conjugate a verb in English. Delete the to, add a subject, add a new ending. 1, 2, 3. Delete the to, add a subject, add a new ending if necessary. Okay, 1, 2, 3. That's how it is. Spanish is exactly the same. There's 3 steps. The only difference is the first step is different. Okay, so hablar is your verb. Step 1, delete the to. Well, in Spanish, they don't put a to in front of it. So instead of deleting the to, the difference is step 1, they delete the ending. Steps 2 and 3 are identical to English. You add a subject and you add a new ending. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so Spanish and English is not so different if you really break it down. So the endings for the AR verbs is aba, and for the ER verbs, it's ia. And the IR verbs, it's also ia. So everybody say aba, ia.
Aba, ia.
Abba,
That's
yeah.
it. Get muscle memory. Okay. If you can remember aba and ia, you can speak in the past in Spanish. It's very, very easy. Okay. So first, we're going to just start with yo and do a bunch of verbs. So, cocinar, Dave, I cooked.
Yo cocinaba.
That's right. It's an AR verb, so it's aba. Delete the ending. Add aba. Okay. Mirar, to watch. Steve, I watched. I watched the game.
Miraba.
That's right. Beber, to drink. Dave, I drank.
Bebía.
That's right. Okay. It's an ER verb. So delete the ending and add ia. Okay. Yo, baby, I drank. Abrir, Steve, to open.
Abria.
Abria, I opened. Okay. Give me something that you did yesterday, Dave. Give me a few things. Give me a few-
Nadar.
Nadar, how would you say I swam?
I swim or
Swam.
yo nado?
In the past, I swam.
Oh, okay. Well, ayer yo.
Forget about that. Focus on this.
Okay. Yo nadaba.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, yo nadaba. Okay. If we continue the story, we would say, while I was swimming in the ocean, a shark bit me. Right.
Mhm.
So anything, just because it's yesterday, doesn't mean it's preterito. Right. You need the whole context.
Right.
Right. So, okay, no, Steve, give me something you did yesterday.
Trabajar,
Trabajar. How would you say I worked?
trabajaba.
There you go. Okay. Two more. Dave, what'd you do yesterday?
I ran. Yo
Correr.
corría.
There you go. I ran. Yo corría. And Steve, one more thing.
Da, 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 da. Caminar,
Caminar. So you walked. How would you say I walked?
caminaba.
There you go. Okay. That's literally it. Okay. Now, if we zoom out, you'll see I have a few other boxes. Okay. What do those boxes mean? Well, if you don't know verb conjugation in Spanish, go watch my Verbs Essentials. Okay, let me just show that real quick. If you're not in our group, join our group. We have free workshops every week. This is our team of coaches, Marilyn, Magda, David, Ali, and myself. Okay, right now they're working with our students. I'm good at, because I speak English, because I had to go through it like you guys, I'm good at explaining things. They're good at giving you the practice, the immersion, the accent, the sound, right? They're fluent native speakers, right? So I'll start bringing them on more often to, these workshops, but so far it's just been me in the workshops because they're so busy with our students. But we do have a great team. So in this, there's a guide section. In the guides, you'll find guides, and I don't know how long I'll leave them all up. I may take, keep a few up and cycle through them, but for now they're all up. And somewhere in there is Verbs Essentials. Let me know if anyone sees Verbs Essentials. Beginners Essentials will also teach it, so that would be a good video. The 8 verb tenses would help. But I know I had Verbs Essentials.
There is their Verbs Essentials Workshop, June
There it is,
24th.
right there. Okay, so Verbs Essentials Workshop would be the place. If you don't know conjugation, if you're watching this video, that will help you. Okay. All right, but basically every Spanish verb has 5 conjugations: yo, tú, singular, plural, and nosotros. Okay, so I talked, yo hablaba. You talked, tú hablabas. Singular, my friend talked, mi amigo hablaba. My friends talked, mis amigos hablaban, and we talked, nosotros hablábamos. Okay, so how would you say they ate? They ate. Dave?
Ellos comían.
Yeah. And Steve, we lived.
Vivíamos.
Good. And vivíamos. That accent. Vivíamos.
Vivíamos.
Good. All right. So, aba ia. Okay. Aba ia. Now, let's talk about some irregulars. Down below, these are called irregulars. Okay. Why? Because they don't follow the aba ia rules. Okay. So I went. All right. Should be yo ia if we follow the rules, but it's yo iba. Ser, to be, I was, yo. It should be yo sia, but it's yo era. And ver should be yo via, but it's yo veia. So these 3 guys are breaking the rules. How many break the rules? That's the question. Okay. 5 points to anyone who gets closest. Out of 1,000 verbs, if I gave you 1,000 Spanish verbs, how many would be irregular out of 1,000? 10, 50, 100, 200, 10%, 20%, 30%. How many would be irregular out of 1,000?
I'm gonna guess 5%.
5%. And what do you guess, Steve?
I'll say 10%.
10%. So out of 1,000, Steve guesses 100 and Dave guesses 50. How about the answer is 3 and you're looking at them?
Wow.
Isn't that nice? What does that mean? That means that you now have the confidence to use any verb in the past tense. You know that if you learn a new verb, literally anyone, it's aba ia. Okay? And this is why I teach this tense before I teach the other one. Because the other tense, let's get to that. This guy here, all right, the past preterito, here's 3 irregulars. Out of 1,000 verbs, how many do you think are irregular with this? Out of 1,000.
Actually, when I made my 5% guess, I was kind of thinking of this one, but yeah, it's I can see it's more.
What would you guess on this one? Out of
I'll say 10% here.
okay. What do you think, Steve?
Maybe 20, 30 verbs.
It's 30%. It's close to
Oh,
300, 300 out of 1,000. This is the first thing they're giving you guys. Do you know how much longer it takes to learn the irregulars for this one than the other one?
Yeah.
Months. Right? Months. There's so many. And the first 2 tenses that every program in the history of Spanish teaches you first are these 2, the present tense and the past preterito. Every single program on earth teaches beginners these first. And guess what? These 2 have more irregulars individually than the other 6 do combined.
Wow.
So basically, the world of Spanish is designed to make you feel discouraged, depressed, and like you'll never get it. They have been misleading you. They have been taking you down a rabbit hole of challenge that is not necessarily. I will start you out with this past tense, done, aba ia. Wow, now I can speak in the past. Maybe I'm not right all the time, but who cares? Because they understand me. I understand half of what they're saying now. And then I can start working on this guy second. And I can learn the regulars pretty quick. We'll do that right now. And the irregulars will just take time. But in the meanwhile, I've got the other tense and I've got the regulars here, and I can understand a lot of stuff with those 2 things. Right? So easy wins, more confidence, more ability to speak, more ability to understand faster. All right. And this workshop is just one of a million little secrets I have that I have developed over 25 years of learning Spanish, that I have seen the shortcomings of how Spanish is taught. I had to figure it out. And when I built my program for conversational, I said, I am going to cut the fat. I know where, because I had to go through it to figure it out. Right? So you guys are benefiting from 25 years of me trying to figure it out. Okay? And no one is teaching this. No one is getting you guys these good tips. All right? That's what we do. One step at a time. All right. So let's do past preterito. Okay? This one is harder because it's not quite as, it's a lot more random. Okay? So like the other one, aba ia, it flows. But this one, it's like, I talked, yo hablé. You talked, tú hablaste. My friend talked, mi amigo habló. My friends talked, mis amigos hablaron. And we talked, nosotros hablamos. Okay? I eat, yo comí. You ate, or I ate, tú comiste. My friend ate, mi amigo comió. My friends ate, mis amigos comieron, and nosotros comimos. We ate. I lived, yo viví. You lived, tú viviste. My friend lived, mi amigo vivió. My friends lived, mis amigos vivieron, and we lived, nosotros vivimos. Okay, this does not flow off the tongue like aba ia. So it takes more work. All right, but let's do that work right now. Okay, so back to nadar. Okay, Dave said nadar. So now, Dave, how would you say I swam?
Yo, sorry, yo nadé.
Very good. Yo nadé. Okay, how would you say my friend John swam?
Mi amigo John habló.
Swam. Nadar.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm looking at, okay. Sorry.
You said
Nado.
Nado. Good. All right. Trabajar. All right. So Steve, I worked.
Yo trabajé.
Good. And Steve, you worked.
Tú trabajaste.
That's right. And good. Give me another thing, something else you guys did, English or Spanish. Give me another verb. What'd you do?
Correr.
Correr. Okay, good. We ran.
Nosotros corrimos. Corrimos.
There you go.
Corrimos.
There you go. Imos. Corrimos. Good. How would you say, Steve? Did you guys run?
Did you guys run?
How do you say you guys?
I have no idea.
You do. Ustedes.
Ustedes. Okay. Sorry.
Ustedes. Okay.
Ustedes corrieron.
Yeah.
Wow.
Ustedes corrieron. Did you guys run? Did is a question word in English that is not a question word in Spanish.
Mm.
Do, does, did, didn't, doesn't, don't. Do you eat? There's no question word for that in Spanish. You just say, you eat? You run? Okay. You guys run? ¿Ustedes corrieron? Good. Sí, nosotros corrimos. All right. How would you say we ran every day, Dave? First, would it be preterito or imperfecto?
Well, I think it's yeah. So see, I'm blanking out on corrimos.
All right. It's
Todos los días.
first it's aba or
Oh,
ia.
aba. Corrías. No, wait. Corríamos. Yeah, sí.
Corríamos.
Corríamos.
All right.
Nosotros
Ia,
corríamos todos los días.
yo corría, tú corrías, mi amigo corría, mis amigos corrían, nosotros corríamos. Okay, so you just have to practice, right? Do your flashcards. So we would have flashcards for you. You would practice them over and over and over again. Okay. Another verb, Steve.
Caminar.
Caminar. Good. How would you say he ran? Or he walked.
He walked. Caminar. El camino.
El caminó. Okay. Good. All right. So now knowing this intellectually is not enough. You need muscle memory.
Yeah.
So this workshop is a good starting point. It is not the ending point, right? At the end of the day, specific and unspecific is all good and fine. But the first step you need to do is master the conjugation of the imperfecto and get that really good. Then you need to master the conjugation of the preterito and get that really good. Then you need to practice mixing them up. Okay. And there are irregulars. So in our full program, we teach you the irregulars, the top ones. So in our full program, we have the irregulars. So for example, okay, in the preterito, there's 3 types of irregulars. Okay, it's really quite confusing. Okay, so the first one is where you have a let's call them, wait, I'm just making sure I'm not missing something. Okay, so first, yeah, these are special irregulars. Okay, so you have your basic irregulars like tener. There should really be a fourth list here. So I'm going to just create it right now. Insert above. Okay, so we're going to change the color on this list. There's really 4 types of irregulars. All right, so we're going to call this what color I need? Blue. Okay, so this would be that. Okay, that would be, tener would be like an irregular. It just doesn't follow the rules. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of those. Then there's irregulars plus prefixes. Okay, so we're going to call these special irregulars. So what do I mean by that? Well, tener, here's the irregulars of tener, and then contener is basically the same as tener. Okay, it just has a prefix, like, so there's a lot of verbs like obtener, to obtain, contener. Okay, so there's like a lot of verbs that in English too, like to do is hacer, to redo is rehacer, to undo is deshacer, right? And so there's like prefixes. So there's a whole bunch of verbs that are irregular. Then there's verbs with prefixes, all right, to those verbs. Then there's the kargar-sar verbs, okay? Kargar-sar verbs are verbs that end in kargar or sar, and these change just because of pronunciation. That's the only reason they change. Okay, so if you look at abrazar, okay, if you were to follow the rules, it would be abrace like that. But they don't like how that is spelled, so they changed the Z to a C, and it's abrace. And the rest of it is normal. Okay, so that's an example of a zar. Here's a gar. Okay, agregar. Okay, if it was normal, it would be agregue like this. But they don't like it because that would be pronounced as hey instead of gay. If you know your pronunciation rules, this would read as agrehe. In order to make it say agregue, they have to add a U in there. So gar will change to gay. Okay, and it's purely about pronunciation. It's not. So these are nice because they're not. You don't have to memorize them really. It kind of just becomes second nature. Okay, and buscar, verbs that end in car. Okay, so if you were to say it by the rules, it'd be busque like this. All right, but how would you pronounce this, Dave? If you were to see this word, how would that pronounce like that?
Well, I suppose you've got the S and the C together, which is I think that's the problem. So I might say busque, but I don't think a Spanish speaker would. They
No.
might, yeah.
If you know the rules of pronunciation, you'll know this would be pronounced busse.
Yeah. Okay, busque.
Yeah, because when the C is followed by an E or an I, it makes an S sound.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so this is pronunciation that everyone should learn before they learn anything else in Spanish. So that's a lesson highly recommend you check out in the group, or talk to me about pronunciation, our pronunciation course. But so in order to solve that problem, they changed busse into busque. And that will pronounce it correctly. So these kargar sarworms have nothing to do with irregular. They have everything to do with just pronunciation. And there's a lot of verbs kargar sar. Okay, abrazar becomes abrace, agregar becomes agregue, buscar becomes busque. It sounds normal. Like if you say it, buscar, busque sounds right, but on paper it looks different. Okay, and then the final special irregulars are the caers, aers, oirs, and uirs, but not guirs. So this is a little harder, and it gets into territory where it's like it's almost not even worth it to tell you guys there's a rule. It's better to just show you the bunch of irregulars and go memorize. It's like the rule is so general that it's like, is that helpful or not? But it kind of is. I weighed whether I should teach it or not. Sometimes I don't teach rules, like with the Preterito Imperfecto to our conversational students, because too many rules can be more trouble than they're worth. But in this case, the rule actually, if you learn 200 verbs, a lot of them fall under this category. So that's why I kept it. Okay, a lot of verbs fall under this. So it is kind of a weird rule, but if you learn enough verbs, it is a useful rule. If you only know like 20 verbs, it's not a useful rule. If you know 200 verbs, it becomes a useful rule. Okay, so caers, all right, it's normal for yo caí or me caí, tú te caíste, but it changes for the singular and plural. The caers change for the singular and plural. Okay, instead of cayó with an I, it's cayó with a Y. And cayeron with an I, it's cayeron with an I, with a Y. So the I changes to Y. All right, and actually the normal, so if it was caer, the normal would be cayó. Like that, cayó. That would be normal if we followed the rules, but they just throw the Y in there. All right, if it was caer normal, it would be cayeron like this, but it's cayeron. Okay, so, and then caímos for nosotros, normal. Okay, the huirs. Okay, normal, normal, and then singular and plural, not normal. Same thing. Okay, they add a yo. at the end. Instead of contribuir, instead of that being O, it becomes yo. All right. Instead of contribuyeron with an I, it's with a Y. So you're not going to remember this right now. Okay. This is just for you to be aware that it exists. Okay. A lot of repetition, a lot of flashcards have to go in. You got to know 200 verbs first, and then you can work on the regulars and then the irregulars. So leer, okay, same thing. The airs, same thing. And the oirs, same thing. Okay, so all of those four guys change in the same way with the singular and plural. Okay, so now the next question is learning some regulars. And if you want to get this list, these are the irregulars for the first 100 verbs. So these are like very useful verbs, irregulars. So I have up to 800 verbs in my course. This list comes from the first 100. Okay, so very useful list. If you want it, comment Preterito down below, and we can set up a time to talk, and I can get you access to our past tense irregulars. Okay, just as a little bonus. Okay, so let's just finish up 109. So yeah, it's about time to wrap up. Any questions from you guys? And the only other thing I would do would be to do flashcards and do a little practice.
Well, that was really helpful. Thanks a lot.
Good. Okay. If you guys want, if you're interested in, getting help, we create a personalized plan for you, step by step, find out where you're at, what you need, what you're missing, and we basically roll it out the next 3, 6, 9, 12 months, whatever it takes to get you to your goal. I will identify all the pieces of your Spanish that you're lacking. Okay, from pronunciation to listening skills to grammar to verbs, everything. And then putting it all into conversation, we'll personalize it. And I don't know if I've still got it posted, but there is a free, basically a guarantee of success this month. I don't know how long it will last, but basically after we create a plan for you and we agree, okay, here's your plan. All right, how many hours a week do you want to study? Blah, blah, blah. Right? Once we create our plan, then you get a free bonus year. If you don't reach your goal in the time that we decide, you just get a free year to reach your goal. Just basically a guarantee you'll reach your goal. Okay, so we should achieve it in the time that we decide, but if not, you just get extra time for free. Okay, so if you're interested, put your email in the chat, put a way to comment in the chat, or if you're watching this on replay, comment down below. I can't guarantee that offer is still available, but comment down below and we can talk about it. All right, so
I'm a little unclear on how you operate. I mean, I discovered this on Facebook, but
we have a full program. So
yeah. Okay.
Our coaches teach Monday through Friday. Okay, we have classes. We have a private Facebook group. You can see it here. We have classes going on all the time, all day, every day.
Yeah. So just to get access to the availability and to look.
We just schedule a call and I'll show you our availability. I'll show you, look at your schedule. What days are you available?
Okay. And how do we schedule a call? Are we
just send me an email? Or
it seemed to me that you had this open Facebook site with
yes.
The ability to comment, but
Yes. Yes. So you can just put your email in the chat right now, and I'll send you a message with a link, and you can just book it that way. Okay. And
Okay.
anybody who's watching this on replay, just comment below, say, and oftentimes I'll message you. And this is more for people watching the replay. I often message people in the group and people don't see it. You've got to check your message requests. Or even better is message me privately first. So here's my name. Click on it and send me a message privately to make sure that you get it. Because a lot of times I send people messages and it doesn't go through because I'm not friends with people, right? So send me your email in the chat so I can send you. Okay, got that. Awesome, Steve. Send me your email in your chat and we'll talk there. And anyone watching the replay, comment below and send me a message so that we are sure that I see it and that you're right. So comment is good. Sending me a personal message is better. All right. And we have a personalized program. You can see up here, 5 expert coaches with 40 years of experience teaching, hundreds of students we've helped, one-on-one and small group classes, thousands of online flashcards, hundreds of videos for every single thing you'll ever need. From every 800 verbs, every tense, every conjugation, every grammar, everything. All right. And a WhatsApp group where you can get support. All right. And basically, we get you to your goal. So you tell us your goal, what you want to achieve. We tell you what you need to do to get there. Okay. And this will be your year to get conversational, to be at that level where you can make friends, you can have relationships, you can really travel with confidence. That's all we do. We don't mess with survival Spanish. It's not fun. It's boring. I only want students who are excited about conversing and really connecting with people. Okay, so we take on, it's called fast, but it's a long-term, process in terms of getting you to this big goal. It's very fast in the world of Spanish, levels, B1, B2, and etc. We get you there twice as fast or more to level B2. But that's it.
Cool.
Good, you guys. Questions?
Thanks a lot.
Okay, absolutely.
muchísimas gracias.
I have Steve's email. I don't think I got your email, Dave.
Okay, why don't I'll send you a personal message.
Good. Okay, easy.
Okay.
Awesome. All right, you guys.
Thanks a lot.
Hasta
Hasta
luego.
pronto. If you're watching this video, it means you really want to learn conversational Spanish, whether it's for dating, friendships, relationships, or just to immerse in the culture. I promise you, vale la pena. It's worth it. But I have to be honest with you. My workshops alone will not get you there. These are pieces in a much bigger puzzle. This is the easy part of the journey, the academic part. You need more. You need immersion. You need daily practice with native speakers who will help correct you and guide you, but also make it feel real. You need accountability, someone to keep track of you, keep you motivated, and make sure you're not falling behind. Those are the things that will give you confidence to go out there and talk to everyone. That's where the real learning begins. So if you want to be able to do this in the real world, let's chat. I'll show you why 99% of expats and travelers fail to ever get conversational, and why we succeed, and how we're going to succeed specifically with you, with your life, your schedule, your level, your goals. Mention the secret word, vamos, for a limited lifetime guarantee, where if you join our program, we'll make sure you get to your goals at no extra cost. If you finish the program and you haven't reached your goals, you continue working with us for free. It's a guarantee. El español te va a cambiar la vida. Nos vemos pronto. Vamos.